Good morning, everybody. Jack Leeson with StartupTrading.com. It is 9:08 here on November 22nd. Title of the video is Cocked and Loaded with the long target. So that is what we're looking at here in the S&P 500, guys. Let me just back out, reiterate where we're sitting on the daily chart and what we've been doing. We've been inside of this extension from the highs of July 17th. And that was support for 4 days. We had one sweeping low breakout of liquidity, and then we've moved all the way back above, and I believe we've broken the full 50% retracement short. So we have pierced that 61.8. We did it yesterday. And so the possibility here in the overnight session, if you take a look at the median of the range, the middle of the range, so you got Tuesday's low, so this week's low too high, that would bring us all the way back down into 59.24, but we've been holding more aggressive series. We had Tuesday's low to, you could draw it to the overnight high or to the regular trading hours session high. You could see there was buyers at those levels on Thursday, and then what is the high? If you see this draw, you see how we were sloppy initially on the push down. We retested that daily support, consolidated inside of the setup, found supports in the overnight on Thursday and in the morning, ran into our profit targets, and that is where the sellers came from. Last night, you have PMI this morning at 9:45. Last night we had PMI for Europe. Those numbers drove us down into this next long setup, and that's where I'm getting, the cocked and loaded target of 6,003. And if PMI does come in as a miss, what I would expect to happen is a rotation down into the 50% for the week. So that could be a potential move down into 59.20 if we get there. And I'm just going to mark this up with the horizontal support line. And as we go into the open, nothing's really going to matter till PMI. I mean, before the open, if you want to be risky, if you're looking for a long entry, the lows from 5 a.m. to high would probably be your first bet. I'll just have to see what the volatility is off the open. Last couple days have been extremely volatile off the open, and they've been what was it? Wednesday, a crush lower. Yesterday, also a crush lower. Third day, I don't think we're going to get it again, but if we get an equal move to the upside, we are going to move up into those profit targets. At that point in time, you can look for your next traditionals as a higher time frame setup. But if we do get up to that 6,003, I will not be looking for any longs past that. I would looking for potentially for a reversal, and realistically, if we get lower, I am just going to be patient for the 59.20s to come into play. So I am long from the overnight session. And just kind of waiting for that number to come out to hopefully complete my profit target. Moving on to the NASDAQ, just backing out here. Now, the NASDAQ is still sitting inside this full 50% retracement short, which is really the only argument that I have for shorts right now. And we have been basing, the extension I'm using is from the September 11th high, and it's been used before. And we've been basing in between that 38 and the 50. The 38, if we lose that here today, if we lose 20,558 today, or maybe next week if that ends up, if the short ends up being the play, we're going to be looking for a move probably through this 23.17 at some point in time. But that's only if we can break down. Right now, we continue to hold higher lows and higher highs. Since Tuesday, which was, you had that liquidity sweep in the overnight session, instantly bid up, and then we dropped it all the way back down below the regular trading hour session low on Wednesday, all the way back up. We dropped it all the way back down, and then bid it all the way back up. So every morning there's been a sell-off that's just spent the rest of the day catching a bid realistically, and sooner or later that we're not going to get that liquidity sweep push below. One of the signs of evidence I always look for before a move begins is a very technical hold of a very obvious halfway back long. Nothing too tricky, just a simple halfway back long. Lows of Thursday to highs, stuck it here in the overnight session, And really everything above that, I'm just a little cautious that we're going to be moving into a completion, which is going to be all the way up at 20,965. Now, if we get up to that 20,965, I'm not pressing longs above that level. In fact, I'd be waiting for a reversal. I just don't think we're quite set up for, there's been enough consolidation here where I don't think the market has a really large reason to move one way or the other for a continuous rally without a pullback. So I'm expecting this long to complete. And I would be proven wrong if we broke below those overnight lows, and if that was the case, then I'll just have to be patient if we break through those overnight lows. What I'll be looking for to kind of confirm my bias this morning is maybe a hold of this traditional. This is really aggressive here, but once again, we've had a lot of volatility. If we don't have that morning sell-off volatility like we've seen in the last few days, that's also going to be something to pay attention to. So that level is going to be at 20,752, and that's what I got here for the NQ and the S&P 500. I'll share these levels, and then we'll move on to oil and gold. Also, Bitcoin overnight it hit 100,000. So now that it hit 100K, I'm sure I'm looking forward to the next targets that people say Bitcoin's going to. Now, Bitcoin was going to 100K in 2020, but never made it there. Congrats to all of the holders. I definitely think it's an awesome product to trade and swing, because there's so much momentum behind it. There will be another entry in setup, just like there is always in every market. Moving on to gold. Yesterday, guys, we had this extension I had mentioned, and that's gone all the way up to its negative 100. What we're going to be looking for here is a same anchor new high. So we're taking the highs of the Tuesday night pre-market session. This was, a beautiful reaction off the 38% retracement and just rallied all night long. If we can pull back into that, I guess it would be a 76.78. That's going to be an area that I would like to look for. And really anything up at these highs, if we do not get down to that support and trade back up to highs, I'd be more interested in the shorts. What I'm going to do is divide this day by 2, find the median, which we're basically at. Everything above where we're currently at, I'd be favoring shorts. And then obviously moves below, we're going to be below the 50% for the day. I'd like to be looking for long. So this 26.78, just going to move this alert up there. If we get into that level, it's going to be something I'm looking for. In oil here, guys, yesterday, we've still been inside of, and I've mentioned this for many days now, this extension from Monday has been extremely technical. Once a target, twice a target. Yesterday in the trade plan, we had this next traditional, and that next traditional traded beautifully, rallied just shy of targets in the overnight session. But either way, from that, it was a 69.51. I mentioned it in the morning trade plan, and then again when it traded, I dropped it in the chat room. We rallied 70 ticks from that level, and great trading opportunity from the long side of things. But either way, coming out of that high, we're still inside this extension, which is that high of Monday before high. And if we can get back down into the 50, anywhere the 50 or 38, I think are both valid levels here. So just continue to pay attention to that. I want to find the midpoint here today. No, sorry, I'm going to use this low to determine the midpoint. Okay. Yeah, I would not be looking for any longs above 69.70, but if we can drop back below, I'd be favoring longs. So below longs favored below 69.70. The two levels of support are going to be 69.56 and 69.19. So really everything, in my eyes, is set up in a long situation. Of course, that can change. Trends can change once we open, but those are going to be my levels here, and I'll share them with you guys in the room. PMI 945. I'll talk to you there. Oh, also just for the room, I'm just going to start shutting the YouTube videos down and just running the room out of the Discord on what's the squawk?